They release sketches of the victim to the public, and no one comes forward to say they know who she is. Unidentified to this day, open unsolved murder case. It comes up every once in a while. It's caught the attention of Joe Hill, who is Stephen King's son and also a writer, but likes true crime as the basis for his stories. Fascinated by the case of the woman in the dunes. Supposedly Whitey Bulger has some involvement. You know, Whitey Bulger, the mobster. So he's like, oh, you know, I love this story, as awful as it is, whatever. Was looking at the sketches one day and also watching Jaws for the millionth time and had an epiphany. He was like, oh, that lady in Jaws, that extra, she's in a bunch of scenes in Jaws, and she looks like the lady in the dunes, woman in the dunes. She's got the same bandana on her head as the sketch of the woman in the dunes. They filmed Jaws 1974 in the spring in Martha's Vineyard, just down the road. This body was discovered in summer 1974. My mind is going. A young woman makes a movie and then goes up to Provincetown because it's cool, meets some jerk and ends up dead. I wonder, let me go solve this case. Goes to Universal Studios because his dad's Stephen King and says, hey, I want to know who this extra is. You know, this lady, tell me, can I find out who she is? Oh, that's going to be tricky. For what? Casting director's been dead for 20 years. Oh. What about the, you know, the files, the information? We had a warehouse fire. That doesn't, those papers don't exist anymore. Do you think Steven Spielberg doesn't know extra from a movie he did 30 years ago? Don't bother him. Can I put her picture out on the internet to my fans and people and say, hey, does anyone know this extra in Jaws? Somebody has to, right? Sure, go ahead. Puts the picture out there. No one's come forward to say they know who this woman is from the movie Jaws, who looks just like the murder victim. Same time thing. He's like, oh my God, so close. This could be the same person. But, you know, it's a dead end. Except for 23andMe and Ancestry.com.
Cliffhanger.
I know. I was thinking of the series. What's the name of that series?
Hightown.
Oh, Hightown.
I was thinking, yeah, they should
I thought that's where this was going.
solve it. They could do a season about Hightown with this woman.
So the Golden State serial killer in California, that case was solved.
Yes.
Somebody put some relative of that person
I remember
DNA
that, yeah.
through Ancestry. They linked that DNA through that private database, which when you send your DNA to that company, they say will not be used for law enforcement purposes. He's trying to petition these private companies to say, hey, we have this case, it's unsolved for 40 years.
Right.
Can we at least maybe use it this time to run this DNA, and maybe we can find a bunch of people in Ohio that are related to this young woman. And then we can go to those families and say, does anyone remember Grandma talking about the wild cousin that never came back again? And at least like bring some closure to this case. Maybe they could backtrack that to Jaws, but right now it's at a standstill. But he's got a podcast about it. There's some articles written about it. So if you Google Woman in the Dunes, Provincetown, and Joe Hill, you will go down the rabbit hole of information.
Sounds like it should be a book, a mystery.
I'm sure he's writing a book or a screenplay. Why don't you go see a movie about Jaws, a murder,
absolutely,
and Whitey Bulger, and fashions from 1974? I sure as hell would. So.
Now, did you see anyone filming for Hightown here?
Yes, I had friends that were in the carnival scene that they did, the big parade scene. I had some friends that did that.